What kind of woman plans her exit after everything you did for her? My name is Nate. I'm 31 years old. I live just outside Austin, Texas. I run a small dev shop with two friends from college, nothing fancy, but enough to keep the lights on and dream a little bigger. That night, we were at her cousin's birthday party. One of those backyard setups with paper lanterns, plastic chairs that sunk into the grass, and music blasting loud enough that people had to shout to be heard. I didn't know half the people there, but I came anyway because she asked. Her name's Tara. My wife. We've been married almost 4 years. Met during a CPR class at a community college gym, if you can believe it. She was studying nursing. I was trying to get certified for work. It was hot that night. I remember because my shirt stuck to my back as I walked behind the garage to grab a drink. The cooler was tucked in the shade, half empty already, filled with melted ice and beer cans bobbing like trash in a kiddie pool. I bent down to grab a soda, and that's when I heard her voice. She was around the corner. I couldn't see her, but I could hear her clear as day. Laughing with someone, probably one of her friends from school. Her voice cut through the music just enough to make out the words. Once I passed my boards, she said, and then she laughed, I'm out. He won't even see it coming. I froze. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just stood there, a can of Sprite in my hand, condensation dripping down my knuckles like I was suddenly underwater. Her friend laughed too. Loud, like it was a punchline. Like it was a joke they'd told before. She wasn't whispering. Not even trying to hide it. That's what messed me up the most, not what she said, but how casually it came out. Like I was already gone. Like she was just waiting for the right moment to cut the cord and bounce. That's when something clicked. Something cold and sharp at the base of my neck. I didn't say anything. I walked back to the party with 2 drinks. Handed her one. Smiled. She smiled back like nothing was wrong. Like she didn't just tell someone she was planning to leave me the second she passed her boards. She tucked a piece of hair behind her ear and leaned in. Thanks, babe. I nodded. Took a sip of my soda. Tried not to taste the metal on my tongue. The rest of the night was a blur. She danced with her cousins. I made small talk with an uncle I'd met once. But all I could hear over and over in my head was her voice. That laugh. That sentence. I'm out. He won't even see it coming. Plot twist? She wasn't even whispering, like she already counted me out. And she was right about one thing. I didn't see it coming. I had a feeling she was pulling away, just didn't think she'd do it so cold. At first, I told myself I was imagining it. People get busy. Nursing school's no joke, and Tara was always the overachiever type. The kind who highlighted her notes twice and made flashcards for flashcards. But the late-night study sessions started stretching longer. I'd go to bed alone more nights than not. Some evenings I'd hear the front door click at 2 or 3 in the morning. She'd say she was studying at her friend Casey's place. Lost track of time, she'd mumble, toeing off her shoes like nothing was strange. Thing is, there weren't any tests coming up. I knew her schedule better than she thought I did. One night I made a joke, lighthearted, stupid. I said, you and Casey better not be out there cheating on me with a stethoscope and a flashlight. I grinned when I said it, trying to keep it playful. She didn't even look up from her phone. Just muttered, that's not funny, and walked into the bedroom. Her phone started living face down on the kitchen table. Used to be, she'd scroll through memes and hand it to me so we could laugh together. Now, she'd snatch it up every time it buzzed and leave the room. Then came the calls. Quick ones, hushed. I'd be in the shower and I'd hear her pacing down the hall, whispering into the receiver. If I stepped out too fast, she'd hang up. I didn't say anything. Just dried off and acted like I hadn't noticed. That was the game we were playing now. Pretend. Deny. Smile and nod. There was a pin on her school bulletin board, some event she was excited about last year, a nursing gala or something like that. I asked if she wanted me to come. She blinked like I had asked to crash a girls' night out. Oh no, she said quickly. That's just for classmates. You'd be bored. Back when we first got married, she used to text me during breaks. Little things, guess what happened in lab, or remind me to tell you about that guy who tripped over a dummy during CPR. Cute stuff. That stopped about 6 months ago. I told myself it was normal. Life moves on. But deep down I felt it. Like standing on a dock watching the rope slip loose from a boat, slow at first, until it's just gone. Her friends started acting weird too. The ones who used to giggle and wave when they came over for study nights barely looked at me anymore. One of them, I think her name was Jessie, saw me at the grocery store and turned so fast she knocked over a box of cereal. Didn't even say hi? I started checking our credit card account. Not because I was looking for anything specific, just something felt off. New charges started popping up. Dinner for one at steakhouses across town. 2 glasses of wine and 1 entree kind of bills. Hotel bars near her campus, not cheap spots either. Always late at night, just enough to make my stomach twist. One Friday afternoon, she left her laptop on the coffee table before heading out. I wasn't snooping, I swear. I opened it because I thought I'd close some tabs so it wouldn't overheat. That's when it happened. The AirDrop notification blinked on my screen, almost like it was taunting me. A file. Titled Post-Licensed Life Plan. My chest tightened as I clicked it. It wasn't just a note. It was a bullet-pointed document. Rent estimates, job applications in Houston, a list of moving companies. At the top it said, things to do once I pass my boards. I scanned the lines, my heart thudding with each new reveal. There was no we in the plan. No us. It was all I. Where I'll live. What I'll buy. How I'll split the furniture. Split. Like it was already decided. I sat there staring at the screen, the glow washing over me, hands cold even though it was 80 degrees outside. That file wasn't meant for me to see. But it told me everything I needed to know. She was leaving. She was already gone. She sat me down 2 weeks before her licensing exam. I remember the way she did it, calm, almost professional. Like a doctor delivering bad news they'd rehearsed 100 times before. We've grown apart, she said. Just like that. No build-up. No apology. No explanation beyond those 3 little words. Like this was some mutual drift that just happened over time. Like she hadn't been slowly packing her exit plan behind my back. I didn't flinch. Didn't ask questions. I just nodded. She blinked, caught off guard. I could tell she expected a fight. Maybe some pleading. A scene. Instead, I looked her straight in the eye and said, okay. That confused her. She waited, probably thinking I'd cave after the silence dragged long enough. But I didn't. I just sat there, nodding slowly like I was finally catching up to where she'd already been for months. You're not mad? She asked, brow furrowed. I shrugged. You seem to have it all figured out. She looked down, twisting the sleeve of her hoodie, her composure flickering for a second. But then she doubled down. Said things like, I need to find myself, and this isn't personal. Right? She filed the divorce papers a few days after her license results came in. Didn't even wait to let it breathe. 1 minute we were having lunch in the same kitchen we used to dream in, and the next, I was signing paperwork while she scrolled on her phone. I let her take the lead. No arguments. No dragging it out. No begging her to stay. I just signed where I needed to sign, made copies for myself, and handed everything back with a smile that probably made her nervous. She moved into an apartment near downtown. Posted a photo of herself on the balcony 2 days later, holding a glass of wine, sunlight catching the side of her face. The caption read, Fresh Start. She didn't know that while she was packing up the throw pillows and her nursing textbooks, I was sitting in meetings with suits from San Jose, polishing pitch decks and double-checking valuations. She thought I was a hobbyist. A guy with a glorified side hustle coding late at night while she rolled her eyes from the hallway. She didn't know I had an app in beta that was already drawing attention. That a VC firm had just flown me out to demo it. That I'd spent the last 6 months negotiating a merger with a major tech firm. $530 million. Pending final board sign-off. It wasn't even the money that mattered, it was the fact that she never asked. Never cared. Never once sat beside me and said, tell me what you're working on. She was too busy planning her escape to see the blueprint I was quietly drawing beneath her feet. Her name was never on the company. Not on the patents. Not on the founding documents. She had joked once that she would have taken equity instead of wedding gifts, but that was all it was. A joke. I kept it that way on purpose. When the final paperwork went through, I took one last walk through the apartment. It was mostly empty by then. Just a couch and the dining table we never really used. I picked up the Live Laugh Love sign she'd hung in the hallway, the one I always hated, and set it in the donation pile. She left thinking I was some broke, comfortable guy who'd never make anything of himself. I let her believe that. Because sometimes silence is strategy. She walked out with a nursing license. I walked away with a company worth $500 million. And not a damn thing tying her to it. The merger announcement hit the press on a Thursday morning. I hadn't even opened my laptop yet when my phone started vibrating off the nightstand. The headline was everywhere before noon. Austin startup acquired in $530 million deal, founder Nate Ellis to retain controlling stake. There was a photo of me from our demo night, me in a hoodie and jeans, standing in front of a screen, grinning like I had no clue what was about to happen. That was the best part. I really didn't. I just knew I built something real. And now the world knew it too. By lunchtime, my inbox looked like a war zone. Old coworkers, high school friends, people I hadn't heard from since sophomore year of college suddenly remembered I existed. But the one that made me stop cold was a text from her sister. Holy crap. Is this real? I didn't reply. Just let the notification sit there like a museum exhibit. A relic of a past life. Then came the call. Tara. Her name lit up on my screen while I was pouring coffee. I let it ring out, watched her picture fade into voicemail like a slow goodbye. A minute later, the voicemail icon popped up. Didn't listen to it. Didn't need to. She called again later that night. Then again the next morning. I didn't answer any of them. I knew what was coming. She wasn't dumb. She was proud, but she knew how to do math. Somehow she must have found out I hadn't cashed out the company completely. That I still held primary equity. That the money wasn't just a payout, it was foundation-level wealth. Long game stuff. Her lawyer reached out 2 days later. Not mine. Hers. Some vague nonsense about revisiting settlement terms and contributions made during the marriage. Too late. I had covered every base. Paper trails, IP locks, business valuation timelines, all documented and notarized months before she even mentioned the word divorce. She left before the harvest. That was her choice. A couple of her friends started liking my posts again. One even made me to say she always believed in me. I didn't respond. Just hearted the message and moved on. Then came the launch party. We rented out a rooftop downtown. Clean lines, exposed brick, string lights draped over tall tables, and a live band that sounded better than they had any right to. People flew in from New York, San Francisco, even Tokyo. My co-founders gave speeches. The champagne didn't stop. She tried to show up. That part still makes me laugh when I think about it. My buddy Chris was at the door. Said she showed up in a navy dress, hair done, like she belonged. Like she thought she could just walk in and pretend we were good. He didn't even let her pass the elevator. I was inside, sipping a drink, when he texted me. Guess who just got turned away? I didn't reply. Just smiled, looked around the room at people who'd stayed, people who'd built with me, and lifted my glass. She walked out with a degree. I walked away a millionaire. Funny how quiet the phone gets when people realize you don't need them anymore. She messaged me on LinkedIn first. That's how I knew she wasn't just reaching out, she was calculating. She knew a text or a call might get ignored, but a professional-looking message on a business platform? That was strategic. The message read, "Proud of you. Truly. Let's catch up sometime." I stared at it for a while, sipping my coffee. Her profile picture was a headshot, clean and polished, probably for her nursing license. Her headline read, "Registered Nurse, Compassion-Driven Care, Empathy First." I had to stop myself from laughing. I typed back, "Thanks. Hope nursing's everything you dreamed of." And that was it. No invitation. No open-ended question. Just a polite period at the end of a closed sentence. She didn't reply. Instead, I put my energy elsewhere. Into the kind of moves that didn't require shouting or revenge posts. Just small, quiet reminders. I made a $50,000 donation to her old nursing school. Not in my name, in my mom's. The Carol Ellis Future Healers Scholarship Fund. That post went semi-viral on the school's alumni page. Even got picked up by a local magazine. One of her classmates left a comment that said, "Wow, your ex did this?" Someone tagged her. She didn't respond. Then I posted a photo with my new team. All the people who stayed, the developers who pulled all-nighters with me, the friends who delivered coffee when we ran on fumes, the lawyer who made sure everything stayed airtight when things got messy. Caption: Grateful for the real ones who stayed. Didn't name her. Didn't have to. Mutual friends picked up what I was putting down. That week, one of those same mutual friends sent me a message, casual, like we were old buddies again. "Hey man, just FYI, she's not doing great. Apartment's too expensive. Working extra shifts. Guess nursing isn't as glamorous as she thought." I didn't respond. Not because I didn't care, but because I did. Once. Now I had nothing left for her. No words. No sympathy. No rescue net. She tried to flex her degree. I flexed generational wealth. But not in her face. Not with a smirk. Just with quiet moves. Things she'd hear about through whispers, half-scrolled posts, and casual mentions in places she thought she'd never be left behind. That was the best kind of revenge. No shouting. No receipts. Just success that echoed louder than anything she could say. Folks started asking me questions after the news broke. "Why didn't you tell her about the app? Didn't she deserve to know what you were working on? Weren't you two married?" I just smile and sip my drink. People didn't get it. The silence wasn't an accident, it was insurance. The truth is, I had a feeling. There were signs long before the cooler behind the garage. Little things. The way she'd roll her eyes when I talked about debugging at 2 in the morning. How she'd joke. Can't wait for you to make real money. When I was already keeping the bills paid with freelance work. Every time I stayed up late working, she made it sound like I was wasting time. She used to say things like, "You're too smart to be gambling on code." And, "What if it doesn't go anywhere?" Funny. The same girl who said I was too smart to be gambling now brags to people that she was there when he built it. I kept records. Every wire transfer. Every prototype draft. Every update note with timestamps and version logs. The company was filed under my name. The IP locked down before beta even launched. She wasn't on the paperwork. Not once. Not because I thought she'd leave, but because I knew deep down that if it ever came to it, she wouldn't fight for me. She'd fight for a piece of what I made. People think protecting your assets means you're preparing for war, that it means you don't trust your partner. But for me, it wasn't about trust. It was about knowing the difference between being loved for who you are and being tolerated until you become valuable. She didn't leave because I failed her. She left because she thought I peaked. Because she thought I was a safe bet that would never pay off. I remember one night, maybe a year into the marriage, I tried to show her a mock-up of the app. I was excited. It was the first time the back end actually connected without errors. She glanced at it, scrolled once and said, "That's cute, babe. Wanna watch something instead?" That was the last time I showed her anything. By the time it all came together, I had learned to keep my wins quiet until they were undeniable. Until they were too big to ignore. Now she tells people she was part of the journey. That she supported me in the early days. But the real ones, the ones who stayed up late with me, who tested every broken feature, who heard the doubt in my voice and said, "Keep going," they know the truth. I tell people, she left before the harvest. That was her choice. And I don't say it with malice. I say it with clarity. Because the smartest thing I ever did wasn't building the app. It was keeping my mouth shut until the paperwork cleared. She tried to play me, but I played the long game. She's remarried now. I saw the post on Facebook, tagged by a friend of a friend. Backyard wedding, string lights, homemade bouquets. The caption read, "Found my forever." He looked like a decent guy. Nothing flashy. Drove her old Corolla, the one I used to change the oil in every 3 months like clockwork. The same one she swore she was too grown to be seen in when we were together. They looked happy. Or at least, filtered happy. You can never really tell with those photos. Smiles come easy when you're posing for the camera. I didn't feel much when I saw it. Just a flicker of something. Not anger. Not jealousy. Just a strange sort of calm. Like watching a movie you used to love but can't remember why. A few weeks ago, I saw her in person for the first time since the split. Community fundraiser out in Round Rock. I was there for a panel on local tech investments. She was manning a booth for a nursing outreach thing. She spotted me before I saw her. And when our eyes met, she looked away. Fast. Like the floor had just dropped beneath her. She couldn't look me in the eye. I said nothing. Just gave a polite nod and moved on. We weren't enemies. We were just history. These days, my life looks a lot different. Still coding. Still building. I've got a new place out by the lake. Quiet, clean, nothing fancy. I kept the old office, but now I take more time off. I don't feel the need to prove anything to anyone anymore. I'm in a new relationship. Been about 9 months now. She's kind, steady. The type who asks how your day was and actually listens. Before we got serious, I sat her down and went over everything. Not just the past, but the future. Showed her the prenup. Laid it all out. She read every page. Didn't flinch once. "I'm not here for your money," she said. "I'm here for you." That's all I needed to hear. I learned something through all this. Trust isn't a feeling, it's a contract. Not always legal, but always binding. You learn who's in your corner when you have nothing to offer and who only shows up once the ground's paved. People still ask if I ever talk to Tara. I don't. There's nothing left to say. She got what she thought she wanted: independence, freedom, a new start. But freedom only works if you know what to do with it. She wanted to level up. But she was never ready for the next level. She got the nursing license. I got the life she thought she was upgrading to. That's the part she never saw coming. And now? She's watching from the sidelines.